Emma Wells, TNT UK on YouTube, online bullying, questionable credentials, dodgy deeds. Questionable qualifications. There's long been rumours that Ems is not a qualified therapist. Is she even sure? So these are screenshots of her taglines: accredited psychotherapist, qualified therapist, professional background in psychotherapy, certified psychotherapist, and apparently a trained life coach. But it seems to change on a whim. So we deep dive on her Facebook. We've got University of Brighton studying a postgraduate in depression and eating disorder in 2010, which doesn't make sense. We'll later see why. But there isn't a course just called eating disorder, depression. Those courses don't exist. So what evidence has Ems provided? Well, there's a bunch of vocational courses in early year care. I don't know why she decided to share these, but it might tie in with something we'll look at later. But she did some vocational courses on working with children. And then this is what we have for the counselling. So we've got a level 1 introduction to counselling certificate, and then this very blurry picture of her degree from Brighton University. So I've edited it to make the text clearer, and it says Emma Wells has been awarded the foundation degree in science with merit in person-centred counselling. And that was 2013. So that's a 3-year course that she started in 2010. But remember, that course said it was postgraduate, but she hadn't graduated yet. And we'll see later as well that she claims to have a BA Hons, but there's no evidence of that that's been provided by her. She doesn't like people calling her out on it. So this is a YouTube comment that was shared onto X. And one of her viewers is saying, "You haven't given any evidence of who you are. No CRB, no proof of where you are registered, just your word." And Ems responds to this just with abuse. "You're part of a smear campaign against me. You're a liar. Stop spreading these lies." And that's people just questioning her credentials. So she is qualified, but using terms like certified and accredited implies she's accredited by the BCAP. She stated that therapists do not need to be regulated, which legally is true. But she's never talked about the fact that there's 3 organisations that she could be accredited by, but has chosen not to. So you can see here, whilst they're under no legal obligation to become a member of a professional body, membership means a member has met certain requirements set by their professional body and must abide by a code of ethics and complaints procedure. Counsellors may choose to join an accredited register to show their commitment to giving you good care. She could stop all the accusations by getting herself accredited, so why doesn't she? It's reasonable to consider that the use of terms certified and accredited are misleading to the average viewer. It implies that she is being governed by one of these bodies. This is a certificate of accreditation from the British Association for Counsellors and Psychotherapy. Ems is not accredited. How do we know? Because you can search. You can have a look, and Emma Wells is not accredited by the BACP. Psychology Today has a register of counsellors that are accredited by the British Psychological Society or the National Counselling and Psychotherapy Society, and you can search for a counsellor and you can search for online therapy. And Emma Wells is not there. Is she a counsellor or a psychotherapist? Now, the law doesn't distinguish between the two terms. So legally, she can call herself a psychotherapist. However, a psychotherapist is understood to have medical training and that they work with complex medical mental health conditions like schizophrenia, personality disorders, and the sessions occur over months or years, whereas a counsellor is traditionally understood to be less qualified, a foundation degree perhaps, and they work with common problems like anxiety, self-esteem, bereavement, and it's a few weeks or months, and it's goal orientated. Normally, you'll use some CBT, thought experimentation, that sort of thing. But there'll be a goal that you set out to achieve over. It's usually 6 sessions. Therefore, it's reasonable to assume that using the term psychotherapist is to deliberately encourage the belief that EMS is qualified to work with complex mental health conditions. And that could actually be dangerous if she gets clients with psychosis, dissociation, personality disorders, when she is not qualified to deal with that. She states she's a trained life coach. There's no educational requirement. It's a completely unregulated profession and one that's generally looked upon badly among people working in mental health. And there's no evidence of any training in coaching. She didn't provide anything like that, just that vocational course and her foundation degree. So how can she claim to be a trained life coach? The unethical encouraging consumption of alcohol, and I know this bothers a lot of people. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. So grab that drink of choice. Add a little something to that drink of choice. Anyone trained in counselling, which would cover addiction and over reliance on substances like alcohol during problems, they would never suggest that you have a drink and, add a little something. While legally correct, her claims are at best morally dubious, and she does not appear to behave ethically as a therapist